Welcome back to my Legends Expanded Universe chronological timeline rating, where I go through the expanded universe according to my personal timeline order and rank each and every individual piece of media on a 10-point scale. Today I have the second Lost Tribe of the Sith story, Lost Tribe of the Sith Skyborn. And Lost Tribe of the Sith Skyborn was written by John Jackson Miller. It's a novella. It was published in 2009. Its in-universe year is 4,990 BBY, and it was published by Del Rey. The start of this story takes place sort of concurrently with the last story, a little bit of overlap, because the beginning of this one starts before the ending of the last one, so there's a little bit of overlap, because this one, instead of focusing on the Sith who have crash-landed on Kesh, it focuses on the native Keshiri. And it focuses on a character named Adari Val. Adari Val is a geologist, and her husband has recently died, and she's a member of a people among the Keshiri called the Neshotavar. And what the Neshotavar do is they are the rulers, they're the head of the government, they're the high council of the Keshiri species. And they're renowned for riding around on winged creatures called Uvoks, and they possess this amazing skill with it. So Adari Val is a member of the Neshtavar. However, she suggests that some formations on their planet were caused by these volcanoes. When the other Neshtavar claim, since they're a very spiritual people, the rest of the Neshtavar claim that it was this ancient war between their gods, the Skyborn, and people from the other side, which that will be explored in the Lost Tribe of the Sith Spiral comic, if I remember correctly. But anyways, the other side and the Skyborn, who are their deities, their gods, fought an ancient battle, and that's what tore the landmass apart. But since she's a geologist, she teaches that the volcanoes caused it. So, this happens in the real world, difference between society's religion at the time and science at the time, like with Galileo. He taught that, the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, and people didn't accept that. That might not have been Galileo. I can't remember. Just fact-checked myself, and yes, it was Galileo. Good job, me. So that's what she teaches, and so her whole family is kind of scorned for this way of thinking, and they throw rocks at her house, and they verbally berate her. And so she heads off on her Uvok to explore as a exhibition to see what is out there, and on her way there she sees the Omen ship crash. And then later, from a distance up on her Uvok, she watches as Devor Corson and Yaru Corson from the last story have their fight over the cliff, and Devor Corson is dropped and killed. And so she just sees it from a distance and sees an object fall off the cliff and sees the figures and is very confused by all of this, and she sees a red lightsaber as well. So this leads to her being surprised by this encounter and almost falling off her Uvok, which she manages to hang on. But then as she's going to go away, she feels this calmness that's calling her to the cliffs, which is very eerie, and it's the Sith are using their dark side force powers to make her come to them, and she feels this safety coming from the cliff. She goes over there and gets captured and beaten by the Sith who are there, and she's going to be beaten again when Yaru Corson comes in, and they talk, and Yaru Corson shows how they can levitate objects with telekinesis, and how they can read minds with telepathy, and so he's really putting on a show. And this leads to her assuming that they are the Skyborn, which the Sith claim they are the Skyborn, so they are their deities, which gets Adari Val. All of a sudden, she goes from being the black sheep of the Neshtavar, And so she goes from being the black sheep of the Neshtavar to being hailed as the daughter of the Skyborn, which is a title bestowed on the one who is like close to the Skyborn and is the courier. So she starts bringing messages back and forth between the peoples, and the Sith decide to move into the village that the Kesh have, and so they supplant the rulers who have been in power, the former leaders of the Kashiri, and they start living in their houses. They basically become their leaders. But then Adari Val confronts Yaru Corson because she's not starting to like how this is going, and she's like, I later found what you dropped and it was a body. And so she's like, I know that you probably weren't supposed to do that, because Sela Corson, who I should have mentioned in the last one, is Devor Corson's wife. Now that Devor's dead, he's left behind a wife and a child, and so they're without their father and husbands, respectively. And so Adari's like, this is not good, you killed your brother, and then Yaru admits to it when she pulls him aside, and he's like, yeah, but murder's not frowned upon by the Sith. But then he like is like, I know stuff about you too, so let's just keep this between us. And so she like agrees, but she's discovered that they are not the Skyborn that they are hoping for. She realizes what they really are. They are phonies. But she agrees to keep it a little secret because she has the ability to wield the Force. So Yaru Corson is going to teach her. And that's where the story ends. This is another fine, good story. I don't think it's as good as Precipice, but Adari Val is quite an interesting character. I really enjoyed reading about her, and you know, her struggles as a scientist among her people when they're more concerned about, you know, spiritual things rather than the science of the planet at this time. It makes for an interesting story. So I did enjoy this one. There's some aspects of this one that are good. You know, the Kashiri encountering the Sith for the first time, you know, and hailing them as deities. It's such a great idea because similarly, when the original Dark Jedi landed on Korriban from several short stories ago, the Masasi hailed them as lords as well, and they became their Sith lords. So it's a similar thing. It's history repeating itself, right? But on a smaller scale. So now this Sith people are going to be isolated for millennia after millennia, but now they've got a population to control. That should keep them busy for a little while. So it's definitely getting interesting among the Sith. I would give this one 4 of 10. It's a good story. There's nothing wrong with it. It's very good. I don't get the hate that Lost Tribe of the Sith has. I did feel that it gets less interesting as time goes on, but these first 2 novellas I think are really interesting, or really entertaining stories, well written. So I think John Jackson Miller did a good job with these first 2. But that's the last of the Lost Tribe of the Sith novellas for now, because next time I will be getting back to Tales of the Jedi: The Fall of the Sith Empire. However, before I go off and do that, what did you guys think of Lost Tribe of the Sith Skyborn? Did you think it was better than a 4 of 10? Did you think it was worse than a 4 of 10? Let me know.